Alright. Ready to go in there, bro. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises to Yahawah, YAHAWASHI, 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 Rakah HaKodash, and double honors to the elders apostles of GMS who do well. Salute you brothers pushing this word and truth to sin and strength and power YAHAWASHI. We out here to gather the elect out of 12 tribes of Israel, which consists of the Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans. Right? As usual, we out here to prophesy the downfall of America. Babylon is great, aka Egypt, aka Sodom and Gomorrah, all of ancient empires balled up into one, which brings Babylon, confusion. Okay? This is the daughter of Babylon. Okay? And Babylon is the Hebrew word, Babal, which means confusion. That's the origin of the word Babylon. It goes back to the word Babal, which means confusion. Okay? Now, what's on Facebook? People were showing me what's on Facebook, what's on the YouTube, on the web. People were showing me that they erected Baphomet, right? This androgynous demon, okay? They erected Baphomet over there in on the state capitol grounds. Now I did a video, right? I did a video on when that Edomite was over there, went to the state capitol and drove his car up on the lawn and ran over the commandments, the 10 commandments that was that them Edomites they had put over there, which 10 is the foundation of the commandments. There's 613 laws. Okay, 613 equals 10, and 10 is the foundation of the law. But anyway, the Edomite ran up on the lawn, right, and said freedom, and ran over the commandments. Okay, the 10 commandments. Well, what's the day? Yeah, it's the 18th. Yeah, because the Day of Atonement tomorrow, 18th. Yeah, you got the 18th, then you got the Day of Atonement tomorrow. So today is the 18th Saturday. So yesterday on the 17th, they had a lot of people down at the Capitol in Little Rock, and they was parading Baphomet and broadcasting Baphomet. And what they want to do is put this over there on the Capitol ground. That's what they want to do. Right? But it's not over there right now, because this morning I went over there and I was going to do a video on it, breaking down the meaning of Baphomet and what it is. Like, say for instance, like his wings. The wings on the back of him, what I have found out, represent that he can change his position at any time, whether for good or for bad. So that's what the wings represent on the back of it. But I was going to go into the detail of what the things mean, right? That's on it, okay? But not today. But I won't go in it in the video. But the guy who this picture is Elephant Levi, okay? But that's not his real name. The name escapes me. His real name escapes me. You can look it up and work for Google if you want to go into it and get the real name. But it's Elephant Levi, okay? That's not his real name, but that if you search that name, it'll go back and tell you what his real name is. But Elephant Levi, which was an Edomite, he was in sorcery and witchcraft, okay? When you start searching out the purpose of him doing that, saying all gods lead to one God, which is the Most High. But that's a lie, man. They want to bring this pansexual, this bestiality, this pansexual bestiality, more and more into this society. So them people who believe in this idol, that's what they want to bring to the earth, which are these Edomites, because the earth is given into the hands of the wicked, pursuant to Job 9:24. The earth is not being ran in righteousness. Okay? The earth is not being ran in righteousness. Lucky about that. I have my earplugs. The earth is not being ran in righteousness. So you can drop that and give me Psalms 96, 4 and 5. So the actual statue of Baphomet is not over there.
A failure to accept Baphomet will surely result in a legal ruling demanding the Ten Commandments monument be taken down.
Let me say this, that based upon the U.S. Supreme Court decision in Pleasant Grove City versus Simoon, it will be a very cold day in hell before we are ever forced to put up a permanent monument on the state capitol grounds that's as offensive as this group that hides behind fake names as they travel the country.
I went over there, I was going to film it, and like I said, it's not erected today. They were just parading it and talking about putting it over there. It's not erected in Arkansas right now. But, like I said, I went over there this morning, and I was going to do a video, and it wasn't there. Okay? But, read what you got out in Psalms 96.
This is Psalms chapter 96, verse 4. For Yahawah is great and greatly to be praised. He is to be feared above all gods.
Yeah, he is to be feared above all powers. So these people on this earth, mainly who's in power right now, these Edomites, they have taken all the ancient idol gods and brought them to the masses of the people, and the masses of the people worship them in vain. Okay? They think they get their power from them idols that, going back into ancient history, them other nations was saying the same thing. But their power don't come from them idol gods. They gotta hold them idol gods up. It's just an imagination that's in their mind. They think that, man. They have lied to themselves so much that they think that that idol that they worshiping is actually real. Is actually a power that can benefit them. So they walk in blindness worshiping those things. And when you go into the history of Baphomet, it goes into the goat of Mendez and the scapegoat. So, you know, these people, when you read about the scapegoat in, I think it's Leviticus 16 and 37, I might be in this chapter, or it might be 18 and 37. Leviticus 18 and 37. It's 16 or 18, one of them. Well, it can't be Leviticus 16. Oh no, it's like it. It's Leviticus 16. I said 37, but it's Leviticus 16 and 26, dealing with the scapegoat. Because Israel will put their sins on their goat, right? And eventually Israel start worshiping their scapegoat. And that's what the so-called Freemasons do. They ride the goat, meaning they put their sins on their goat. So that goes back to that. It goes back to Pan, the goat of Mendez, which goes back to Egypt, and it goes back to the scapegoat, where Israel was putting their sins upon the goat, and then Israel started worshiping the goat. Okay? But that demon, they pushing their vibration in the earth for homosexuality and bestiality, and like I was saying, they worshiping that to tap into enlightenment, and saying all idol gods lead to the supreme power. So you can worship that and still be led to the supreme power, which is awesome, man. Complete madness. I'll read that again.
This is Psalms chapter 96, verse 4. For Yahawah is great and greatly to be praised. He is to be feared above all gods.
Yeah, you're going to find out the true fear of YAHAWASHI, man. When you bring hell on earth, man, you're going to find out the true fear, man. You're going to find out these idol gods that you put up and you make pictures of and you bowing down and worshiping and looking at them as if they're feeding you and where you get all your power from, and that's what's sustaining you and being a vessel of that. Hey, you're going to find out that idol god that the ancient people invented and that you're worshiping today is nothing, man. You're going to fear YAHAWASHI. They're God of Israel. They're power of Israel. The only savior of Israel. And on this side is going to be the elect out of the Negro, Latino, and Native American. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 5. For all the gods of the nations are idols.
For all the gods of the nations are idols. The Most High done told you according to the scriptures in the book of Psalms. He said all the nations' gods are idols, man. Okay? And you stronger than that idol. You got to hold that idol up. Just like when you watch footage about Baphomet, they had to put him on the truck and bring him to his spot to where they wanted to set him up. Why he couldn't do it on his own? Because he was so much of a power. You see, they just showed you the stupidity and the vainness and the wickedness of these people. Their imagination is off, man. Esau got a stupid, backwards, perverse spirit on him. Okay? That's just what it is, man. It's all twisted, man. Okay? And examining the scriptures and looking at the conditions on the earth, the wicked is in rulership. Okay? Start from the top.
This is Psalms chapter 96, verse 4. For YAHAWAH is great and greatly to be praised. He is to be feared above all gods. For all the gods of the nation are idols.
For all the gods of the nations are idols. Now, when I was over there, I had guys, I had this one guy come up on me, and we got to talking. He asked me what I was doing. I told him I'm an Israelite, right? And I was finna ready to film and make a video. And we got to talking, and I asked him what's his nationality. He said Nuwabi. He said Nuwabi, and I said, oh, you deal with Malachi Z. York. I said, you know, he went to jail for pedophilia. They locked him up for, it was either for 125 years or 145 years. One of them two. But they locked him up, and they had people confess that he was doing that. And we got to talking, you know, and he was saying, look, we beyond the Bible. We beyond the Bible. See, that's the thing about our people, man. They're searching out, which I ain't mad at it. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't mad at it. He said, let's build, so I was dealing. He said, let's build, so I was dealing. So like about what I just said, but I slip of the tongue. He said, let's build, but I was dealing. You know, I started dealing and seeing where it was at. So we got to talking, and he had another guy that was on the phone. So I had two Jakes that I was dealing with. One that was standing in front of me, and one that was on the phone. And they was into Nuwabi, which is Malachi Z. York. And I asked him, you know, the definition and what's the origin of Nuwabi. And when you Google it, like he told me, but I told him, he said something else. Okay? But I told him, I said, look, if I Google that, Nuwabi, it's gonna go back to the Cushites, to the Ethiopians. You know them as Ethiopians today, but their biblical nationality is Cush. Matter of fact, put up this nation sign. Their biblical nationality is the Nuwabians. When you Google it, their biblical nationality goes, which he told me they was over there in Sudan, right? And he told me they was over there in Sudan, and you got different tribes that was over there, which he said that. But I said, look, if you Google Nuwabians, it's gonna go back to Cush, which in the Ethiopian, which in the Hebrew is Kawash, but you use in the English is Cush. Okay, how he said in the Hebrew is Kawash, which means burnt face. But the Nuwabians go back to that if you Google it, okay? And they are descendants of Ham, and we are not Hamites. We descend from Sham, okay? You had Sham, Ham, and Japheth, and I was explaining to them about the population of the earth, because you had Sham, Ham, and Japheth, and those were the sons of Noah that populated the earth, right? And I would tell them, look, Cush ain't gonna get no salvation. Salvation is only for the Israelites. So I told them that, and so we continued to talk, and we was going back at it. And one of the brothers asked me. I'm calling the brother because he's an Israelite. He don't know. He calls himself Nuwabian, but he don't know he's an Israelite. So that's why I said brother. Okay, that's just the way we talk. But in the spirit, I know that he's gone left field. He went sideways. He's not in the spirit of YAHAWASHI. But I'm just speaking. So, dang, got distractions. Oh boy. Yeah. Distractions messing with me. Satan don't want this information to come out. But he phone in the ring, he go to talking, then Satan wants you to lose your train of thought. You know what I'm saying? All that. But anyway, back to what I was saying about that. I was telling you salvation is only for the Israelites, right? And we jumped around a little bit. He jumped around in Ishmael. He jumped around about the Canaanites being white. And I was telling him, I said, look, in Leviticus, the 14th chapter, there was a house, okay, that had leprosy. And then I told him, I said, there was a house that was in the land of Canaan. Canaan, Jerusalem was called Canaan before it was called Jerusalem. Okay, so in the land of Canaan, which is Jerusalem, there was a house that had leprosy in it. So what you would have to do when you read Leviticus the 14th chapter, what you would have to do would scrape out the mold that's in there. Now, if that don't work, okay, if that don't work, you're gonna end up having to burn down the house or take the house down, get rid of it. But my point is they use that scripture to say that the Canaanites are white, and I said, nah, they not white. They are so-called dark-skinned people. Okay. Then it went into incest. Yeah, about incest. Incest in the Torah. And I told him, I said, yeah, it's in there, dealing with Ammon and Moab, because Lot, when they destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, Ammon and Moab are the descendants of Lot. And how they're descendants of Lot is because Lot's daughters had sex with him while he was drunk, because they thought the world had ended. It was so much destruction that they thought the world had ended. So while Lot was drunk, they had sex with him, and they was saying to themselves they was going to preserve their seed. So you have Down syndrome with the Japanese, which is Moab. You see, with the Chinese, like the Chinese is Moab, and the Japanese is Ammon. Okay, that was the slip of the tongue. But the Chinese is Moab, and the Japanese is Ammon. That's why they got them slanted eyes and that kind of flat face, because that is a trait of Down syndrome, incest. And I said, yeah, it's in there. He said, well, what about the Israelites? Didn't they commit incest? Nah, man. Nah, Israelites didn't commit incest. Okay? Because if the Israelites committed incest, that means starting with Jacob, we'll all be, because Israel is of the seed of Jacob. So going back to Jacob, if Jacob was committing incest, then that means all the 12 tribes will have that Down syndrome. Nah, that ain't what it is, man. People do those things on the earth. Now, I ain't saying Israelites don't do that today, okay? Because Israel gone, man. Israel do wild stuff. They going, okay? But what I'm saying is, from the foundation of when Jacob was brought forth on the earth, Jacob didn't do no incest, man. Jacob didn't have, didn't do no incest, okay? That's why you got the trace of it with the Chinese and the Japanese, like their facial features and how they look. That deals with incest when you go into it. So I answered this question on that, and then he got to saying, well, the Israelites lost the covenant, and I was like, nah, man, the covenant goes from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And he said, well, what about Ishmael? I said, well, Ishmael didn't get the covenant. So he goes into that. So we were bouncing around, but the brother was standing in front of me. He was asking me, well, why we catch so much hell as a nation of people? I said, because we broke the statute, laws, and commandments. Okay? We broke the statute. Put that down. We broke the statute, laws, and commandments. And this is the Most High movie, and we got to play it out. We got to play it out. We got to play it out until we get delivered, until prophecy be fulfilled. Okay? That's what we got to do. Matter of fact, give me Baruch, the 4th chapter. We got to play it out. And then we're going to go to Jeremiah 6th chapter. I'm going to change it. We got to play it out on the earth. Okay? Because we transgressed the laws of YAHAWASHI. So the covenant was given to us, the Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans, which are the two biblical Hebrew Israelites, was given to us. It was not given to no other nation. We're not going to ever lose the covenant. So Baruch, the 4th chapter, this is verse 6.
All right, this is Baruch, chapter 4, verse 6. Ye were sold to the nations, not for your destruction, but because ye moved the Most High to wrath, ye were delivered unto the enemies.
So we were delivered unto our enemies because we moved the Most High to wrath. So while we're in this condition, we're being punished because we moved the Most High to wrath, okay? To anger. So the Most High said, look, I'm going to punish you for what you're doing and how you rebelled against me. So we got to finish out our punishment according to prophecy. The Most High long-suffering, meaning he's slow to anger, okay? That all may come to repentance, meaning the elect out of the nation of Israel, because them the only ones don't feel sorrowful, turn back and feel sorrowful for how they rebelled against YAHAWASHI and be enlightened in these scriptures and understand the counsel of the Heavenly Father and His Son, and not being New Wabian, not be into Islam, not being this mess, this confused Christianity, because that Christianity produce homosexuals with homosexuals and lesbianism and idol worship. Okay, that's madness. This fake Christianity, what you see today. Okay, and then they tell you everybody can be saved. It's just straight confusion. Okay, read that again.
This is Baruch, chapter 4, verse 6. Ye were sold to the nations, not for your destruction, but because ye moved the Most High to wrath.
So we sold to the nation, that means we're in slavery. And we moved the Most High to wrath. So while we're in slavery, the Edomites was the Most High's whooping stick, because he used nations to punish us as a people. Just like when we get in the kingdom, we're going to punish these other nations. Just like when we get back on top, which I told him when we first started talking, I said the reality of it is, the truth of it is that we're going to rule again. Right now, we in punishment. We in slavery because we moved the Most High to wrath. We broke the statute, laws, and commandments. But we do have a Savior. That's what the new covenant is about. Okay? YAHAWASHI came for a short time, but he completed what he was supposed to complete, meaning establish that covenant. And when we get into establish that new covenant, and when we get into the kingdom, it's going to be in our inward part. So it's already written. You can't stop it. You can't break it. You can't change it. Okay? So he established that when he was on the earth. That's what he wasn't sacrificed for our sin. So we can get that new covenant. So read that again.
This is Baruch chapter 4, verse 6. Ye were sold to the nations, not for your destruction, but because ye moved the Most High to wrath. Ye were delivered unto the enemies.
See, we were delivered unto the enemies. And who was our enemy? The so-called white man and these other nations. The so-called African, the so-called Chinese, the so-called Japanese, the so-called Japhetic people, the Hawaiian, Samoans, and the Tonganese. All these nations that are not Israelites, they are enemies, man. Because Israel is scattered all over the place in every nation, and they're in slavery. They in their condition, man. Okay? In the slave condition, man. Whether it's physically or mentally, man. Okay? Go ahead.
For ye provoked him that made you by sacrificing unto devils.
Yeah. Devils meaning deceivers, meaning going back into them idols, man. Our people were worshiping idols, man. Following after the custom of these other nations, man. And the Most High got pissed at us, man. So he said, okay, since you want to worship them idols and breaking my covenant and don't want to keep my laws and being rebellious, I'm finna put you in slavery up under all these evils, which is your enemy, okay? And that's what happened to us as a people. So that's why we catching so much hell, man, because we broke the statute, laws, and commandments, and we planned out our sentence, man. We planned out the movie of YAHAWASHI, and Yahawah directed, man. Okay? Jump down to, we're gonna read a little bit of that, and then we're gonna jump back, change subject.
Let me finish it off. Okay. And not unto the Most High.
Yeah, not unto the Most High. We want sacrificing to the Most High. Okay, like we were supposed to, according to the Levitical law. Okay, we were supposed to sacrifice to the Most High, but we weren't doing it. We were sacrificing to idols, man. And today, we're supposed to be a living sacrifice by coming out here and teaching the children of Israel, the Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans, the elect out of them, the right way, the right counsel according to the Bible of the Heavenly Father and Son. Not no Egyptology, not no New Wabian, not no Islam, not no Scientology, not no confused Christianity, okay? None of that. And so on and so forth. All these confused religions you got out here, okay? These confused beliefs that you got out here. This is what Israel is supposed to be focused on, the statute, laws, and commandments. And we're supposed to be a sacrifice to come out here and teach the word of the Heavenly Father in truth and sincerity, okay? Go ahead.
This is verse 15. For he has brought a nation upon them from far.
A nation upon them from far. Where did the so-called white man come from? Spain. Other side of the water, man. So, the 10 tribes was over here, and Columbus them came over here from far, man. Okay? And after that, brought us over here. Okay? Go ahead.
A shameless nation.
A shameless nation, man. They have no morals, man, when it comes to the word of the Heavenly Father and His Son. They just go off their own vibration, how they feel, and whatever they want to do. They just live in disorder, in no order, man. It's confusion, man. That's why they want to erect Baphomet over there on the capital, state capital, over there in Little Rock, which I'm in Little Rock, but I'm talking about over that way. State capital not far from us. Okay?